Yeah. Many a time, students, those 5 forces are not asked. Any one is asked. And that is also 4 to 5 marks because it's very exhaustive. So what we'll study today, Porter 5 force model, that is first thing. Second, we have to study, students, what is generic business strategy. And third, best cost provider strategy. मेरे को आता है ये. First, try to understand what I'm saying. What is Porter 5 force model? See, the explanation goes something like this. Michael Porter 5 force model. उर्वशी back. आ रहा है समझ में? पक्का? चलो सुनो. Navneet, Kavya is again gone. What is Michael Porter 5 force model? Please listen. The introduction should be clear, then points becomes a bit easy. See, it goes something like this. Michael Porter said any person who is doing business is doing business with only one motive, profit. Prakriti, with only one motive, that is what? Profit. Either. Okay? Why a person is doing business? He may talk a lot of nonsense. I'm doing for the society. Bola chup. Only one motive, profit. Baki sab dikhawa hai. Now, Porter uncle tells, if you are doing business with the intention to earn profit, then before starting the business, you should know what are the forces playing in the market which will reduce your profit, which will take away your profit. Now, those forces which can reduce your profit, take away your profit, find out how strong those forces are or how weak those forces are. Then try to analyze whether you can dominate those 5 forces or those forces which are there. If you can suppress those 5 forces, if you find that they overpower you, I said if you find that they overpower you, then sorry. Then bacha, you're doing business, you're entering in the businesses with just an intention to exit. So, if I'm entering in a business, first find out who are these forces, which are these forces, how powerful these forces are. Then, can I manipulate these forces for my benefit? If I can, great. If I cannot, bad. The question is, beta, which are these forces which can reduce my profit? So obviously, bacha, first factor that can reduce your profit is your customer. Customer, bacha, dangerous, huh? Customer will not buy product from you, so you're gone. So first category of people who you need to satisfy them is customer. Customer can ask for reduction in price, customer for ask more services. So he may be the first factor who may reduce your profit. Second, bacha, who can reduce your profit is your competitor. Competitor matlab chalo bolo. I was Airtel and Vodafone was. So Vodafone was my competitor. Vodafone gives some better, cheaper services, then my profits will become less. Third, beta, most dangerous is new entrant. New entrant means what? If Airtel and Vodafone were competitor, then Jio entering the market was a new entrant. Am I right? So new entrant, when he comes in the market, he will take away your customers. He taking your customers means what, bacha? Your profits will fall. Fourth, students, the biggest problem is what? Come on, tell me. Substitute products. Substitute products. I'm making cars, petrol cars, diesel cars, and there is someone who comes with an electric car. Substitute. If he comes with the electric car, bacha, my profits will reduce. And the last is who can reduce my profit is the, fifth one is the suppliers. Nowadays, what is supplier here mean, beta? To make the product, I need raw material. And I buy raw material from Navneet. Navneet says, sir, Sundays I don't work. Saturdays I take a holiday. Monday I am sleeping. And I don't get my raw material properly, bacha. So because of Navneet, my meat will get spoiled. Am I right? The supplier can also reduce my profit. Ab bacha suno. Porter Baba tells what? These 5 factors, these 5 category of people are the 5 forces who can suppress you, who can reduce your profit. So you find out first, are they united? No? Okay. Find out how dominant they are, how powerful they are. If they are very powerful than me, then they will do what? They will outsmart me. They will not allow me to grow. And then how will I make profit? So, beta, first I have to understand, if I enter in the business like a Geo, then I can suppress all of them. Then much I'll make profit. But if I enter in the business and then I realize I will not be able to make any impact, then I said, students, I'm entering just to exit. That should not be the case. So this is the basic introduction. Abhi topic nahi padhaya beta. This is just the introduction. Michael Porter 5 force model. Why we call it as 5 force? Because these are the 5 factors or forces which can reduce my profit. Let's see what it says with that. Porter 5 force model. Every business operates in competitive environment. Competition was, is, and will be there everywhere in all the industries over the globe at any point of time. Competition will be there in every industry, but state of competition will be different and different. In simple words, level of competition will change. All companies in all industries will make competitive strategies on the basis of level of competition prevailing in the industry. But with this, it would be better if you also make a mention that what I said, every business wants to make profit. And profit gets affected because of what? Competition. So who will compete with me and who will reduce my profit? Analysis of that is basically Porter 5 force model. Now see, every business organization, all the industries will have to craft and draft competitive strategies on the basis of its status in the industry as per the competitive state. What is status in the industry? With our first lecture, first topic, I had said, second chapter, sorry, I had said now when you are doing business, so you should know what is your position. You may be a leader, you may be a challenger, you may be a follower. Urvashi, yaad hai, challenger, leader, follower, kya tha? I had said, no, if you're an iPhone, come on, you are a leader. If you're a Samsung, Navneet bolo, you are a challenger. If you're an MI phone, you are a follower. So you will make strategy on the basis of what position you are enjoying. I'm making a car like, let us say, Citroen, where the price is 30 lakh of rupees. So Citroen 30 lakh of rupees will not be worried about Alto's sale. But what is that other car student? Swift sale. Swift is 6 lakhs. Citroën is 30 lakhs. So people who will be buying Swift will not think of buying Citroën. So people who are buying Fortuner, who are these people? They can be my prospective customers. So that kind of strategy. Competitive state of an industry applies a strong influence on a firm's development. We see this, but 5 points I've written. Risk of new entrants into the industry, bargaining power of buyers, customers, bargaining power of suppliers, threat of substitutes, and intensity of rivalry amongst. Okay, so these are the 5 forces. Now, this part, students, you can go through it, it's very easy. Instead of reading, I'll start explaining. See, the strategist can use the 5 force model to determine what competition is like in a given industry by undertaking the following steps. First step, it says what? Identify the specific competitive pressures associated with each of the 5 forces. The specific competitive pressure. Evaluate how strong the pressure comprising each of the 5 forces are: fear, strong, moderate to normal, or weak. And determine whether the collective strength of the 5 components is conducive to one. So, beta, please. Abhi be very clear, bacha. Till here, imagine printing me, it runs into 2 pages, only the introduction. And if this question is asked for 4 marks, bacha, every particular point that we are going to study, it may have 7, 8 points in that. So please, that was just for your understanding. If they ask a question, threat of new entrants, so the introduction should be very small, because I will not give you marks for the introduction. I will give you marks for this. And that much I've given for the simple reason that students, everything we cover it in it. Okay? The threat of new entrants. How do we understand this point, student? Threat of new entrants. Any idea? Once I'll just bring water. Yes, sorry for that. See, hey, beta, Ramya, Kavya, Ramya, where were you, man? Every 2 minutes you go away. So anyway, pay attention. Let's start. Nihal, sun rahe na? Understanding na? Hey, beta, Suna, this is very important, interesting. A bit important, students. I feel this question can be asked in the exams. What is the first point that we are going to study? Threat of new entrants. So new entrant. Now imagine if Mr. A starts a business. Okay. Now, obviously, in that business, he knows he'll be facing competition. He knows if there is competition, his profit may get affected. Now, beta, what is he supposed to do? He is supposed to ensure that that when I enter in a business, I am trying to create some kind of barriers. What barriers? But I'll write it over here. Some kind of entry barriers. Entry barriers means what? I have entered. I don't allow others to come in the business. I mean, you will say, sir, that is not possible. Precisely, that's not possible. Entry barrier means I cannot stand on the door and tell you cannot come. But beta, there are other ways in which we can have entry barriers. Abhi how? Pay attention. I'll give you an example. See, beta, listen properly. The day Jio was launched, telecommunication sector, all of you think, after Jio got launched, is there any company which has come in the telecommunication business? Ramya, tell me. After Jio got launched, any other company has come? No one has come. You know the reason is what? To start the Jio, Reliance Industry invested 1,50,000 crores. Nowadays, how much? 1,50,000 crore. That much amount of money. Who will invest so much amount of money, students? Isn't a small amount, it's a very big amount. Anyone cannot afford this much money. So what Jio has done, think, Mukesh Ambani is very intelligent, beta. I told you in one of my lectures when he started Reliance Petroleum. He started Reliance Petroleum or starting a refinery. That refinery, students, is made up of 17 villages in Jamnagar. That big. Biggest refinery in India. Who will be able to start that big business? No one. 1,50,000 crore rupees student to start that particular Jio. Others will not come. Now tell me what will happen. Chalo fast. What he has actually done, he has created entry barrier. Am I right? Nowadays, okay. He's created an entry barrier by I have come. Aja. He's giving an open challenge now. If you have the funds, come. But beta, no one has funds that much. Second example, a person says, I want to start, a person says, I want to start, let us say, iron and steel industry. Okay. Iron and steel industry, if you want to start, students, you need to spend thousands of crores of rupees. Now, if you need to spend thousands of crores of rupees, is it easy? Not easy. That is why you'll find in India, iron and steel, cement industries are very few. Everyone don't come in that business because of big capital requirement. So you're creating entry barriers. Now see the other part of the story. Ramya says, sir, 50,000 crore of rupees I've spent and I've started iron and steel industry. So some particular Yadurappa's cousin can arrange for that much money. Lots of funds they have. But then, bacha, be clear what I'm saying. You start the iron and steel industry now, you realize that in the steel industry, gestation period is 8 years. Sometimes it is 10 years. What do you mean by gestation period? You know, I'm putting the money now. Beta, I'm putting the money now. I am setting up the plant. Setting the plant, investing, and starting production, selling the material, and getting money is the gestation period. And that happens after 8 to 10 years. So for 8 to 10 years, I'll be just investing money. I'll get back returns after 8 to 10 years. Now tell, who has the patience, students, to wait for 8 to 10 years? Very few people. So what have you done? You've created entry barrier. Beta, please understand. Huh? So you start a business with 1,50,000 crore, others cannot enter. You created a barrier. You start a business and you say, I'm ready to invest for 8 to 10 years, then I'll get the money, others will not come. You know, take another example. Now, I was telling in the morning lecture, Bombay mein we have lockdown. Restaurants are closed, shops are closed. But home delivery of liquor is allowed. Strange, na? India कैसे आगे बढ़ेगा दारू पी के? Strange. Na? Liquor shops are open. I really wish, I pray to God, there should be some literate politicians in our country. These are all parasites. कीड़े साले. Liquor shops home delivery they'll give, but restaurants they will not allow to open. What all this particular restaurant owners will do? See, a friend of mine who has a liquor shop, today morning he is giving me a message and he says, Sir, Girish, I am buying a Audi. Audi? Sir, Bivda, too? Girish, I am buying an Audi. How much? Not too much, but I have paid 78 lakhs for that. My God, 78 lakh rupees is too big an amount. So my son was wondering, Papa, why you are teaching? You also open a liquor shop. No? Oh my God, that is the last thing I do. Abhi, suppose I get a feeling here, I should also open a liquor shop. Then the question is to open a liquor shop, I need come on a license. Nowadays, I don't have a license. So, bacha, this friend of mine who has a liquor shop, what he has done, he has created an entry barrier, and that entry barrier enables him, come on, to make hay while the sun shines. He is making profit. He is not allowing us to enter. And his profits get multiplied. Take the other example. Suppose you start a business, okay? Suppose where JK Shah classes are there. So hundreds of students come every day morning. And at the main Andheri center where we take lectures, ground floor, there are 2 to 3 people selling sandwiches. Now one particular person has come who sells idli and dosas. Listen up. So 4 people were there. Now take a picture. While Anna was there selling dosa, idli, and whenever we pass through that place now, we'd find at least 50, 60 students and 20, 30 other people eating in those stalls. Now, this person who started a idli dosa center, how much money he would have invested? Maximum ₹1,00,000. But you know what will happen? In 3 months' time, we found what? There were 3 more people selling idli and dosa. Why, Ramya, tell me? Because when your money invested is less, when returns are quick, you don't have a long gestation period. You get that idli batter or the dosa batter, you prepare dosa, you serve it, give chutney, that person gives you the money. Cement, steel, you have to first set up a factory. You have to set up that particular smelting plant. Then student, you'll have to burn the iron ore. From there, student, you'll process steel. That's a big process. इधर डोसा बनाने का क्या टाटा एक टाइम पे 10 डोसा बनाए 10 centers like this will come student dosa. 2 or 3 sandwich chola was there. Now there are 5 to 6 people selling vada pav over there. So what has happened? Your entries become easy. Big capital is involved, entry becomes difficult. See this students. So here threat of new entrants. This refers to possibility of the new competitors who are not currently in the marketplace entering the industry. Beta, remember, this is the most dangerous threat because this is the enemy. Come on, tell me, you don't know. Who was knowing before 5th of September 2016 about Jio? One day he comes, and what happens? He takes away your customers. You lose your customers because of the new end, isn't it? Who are not currently in the marketplace entering in the industry. This results in a smaller share of the market for existing firms and may erode their profits. I repeat, we understand this. Possibility of new competitors who are not currently in the marketplace entering. When they enter, my share will become a smaller share for existing firms and may erode their profits. The most common response, this is important, the most common response of established firm is to oppose and discourage potential entrants. Discourage them, don't allow them to come. How? So, the discourage potential by erecting what common entry barriers. Entry barriers, the greater the strength of these barriers, weaker will be the force. Now, the first one, it says what? Capital required. It's very easy, I said just now. When a large amount of capital is required to enter an industry, you should write the example of Jio. How much money I said? 1,50,000 crore. Firms lacking funds are effectively barred from the industry. They will not come, thus enhancing the profitability of the existing firms in the industry. In simple words, the industry in which capital required is more, competition from newcomers will be less and vice versa. First point. Clear? Ramya understood this point, beta. Second point, see economies of scale. Very easy. One particular company is there in my country, student, listen. Hindustan Unilever that makes a soap Lifebuoy. They make a soap by the name Lux. Hindustan Unilever students company makes soap for 136 crore customers of the country. So some people must have gone to Patanjali, but still students 60-70% of the demand is with this company. So almost student 80 to 90 crore people use Lifebuoy Lux. If one company makes soap for 90 crore people, imagine they must be making the goods in a very large quantity. So, better for them, what buying raw material becomes cheaper. Is that they will start their own vertical backward integration. They will only provide raw material. So, the profit that the supplier was making in the past, they will deny him that profit. Then, bacha, they will only start selling the goods. They have the distributor network. So, how much cost it would be incurring for them to manufacture a soap will be very less. Think of it. Tomorrow, if a new person comes in the market and he says, I want to sell to 1 crore customer, beta, the other company is selling 90 crore customers. You are only expecting 1 crore. Your cost will be more. Prices will be more. Obviously, what would happen? You will not get that same economies of scale. You will be doing business, and even if you make profit, you'll be just surviving. They will take away the cream. So what will happen? Anyone else would not be able to match up to the quantity which Hindustan Unilever is making. So they feel will not enter. Abhi, one student asked me in Indore, so why did they Patanjali enter? Patanjali beta who actually gave competition to Hindustan Unilever and said, what? I will surpass the sales that you are having. So Baba Ramdev Bachcha has nothing to lose. Na? See the way he dresses up, right? See the kind of activities he does. What? Either se lo, either chodo, ye khodo, all that kind of thing. Na? I mean, imagine, Suren, today his company sale is almost at par with Hindustan Unilever, I would say. It becomes cheaper for him. But for a new company just to come, it will be difficult. So if I'm Hindustan Unilever, I'm getting economies of large scale, I'm assured, come what may, I will rule the roost. Okay? Economies of scale, see, refers to decline in the per unit cost of production or other activity as volume grows. A large firm that enjoys economies of scale can produce a high volume of good at successfully lower cost. This tends to discourage new entrants. It's clear. Product differentiation. Please listen now. Product differentiation means what? Niyati tells her mom we should buy this particular product. Let us say some jewelry. So, bacha, mom, daughter gets ready and they both go to Joy Aluka Jewelers. Example, but I don't know where you'll go, but suppose you go to Joy Aluka Jewelers. Why? Because they get a feeling that he gives good designs, he gives pure gold, and we are very loyal to that particular shopkeeper. So what is it, students? You feel that the designs are good, the quality is good, the prices are reasonable. So much of product differentiation. Till the time you are doing business in this manner, you are able to convince the people, they'll come to you. Urvashi says, sir, I want to buy a particular pair of specs. And then she knows that her father will buy for her a Ray-Ban. So Ray-Ban she wants to buy is what? Product differentiation. Other particular companies are there, but she said Ray-Ban. Because Ray-Ban is a product which is better than other product. Your dad wants to buy a television. So he says, I'll buy a Sony brand identity. If I want to buy a pair of shoes, students, I say I'll buy a Skechers. Why? Simple, because that product has some feature which maybe a Nike or a Reebok doesn't. If I want to go and eat something, student, that there is some restaurant, I go there and eat. My wife would say, every time you want to come to this restaurant, I said, I love the food. I like the ambience. I like the service. So what is it if you are doing business, you are serving the customers well, customers will come to you. Take an example, bacha. JK Shah classes, I told you some time back. Today the students who are studying in Bombay, their parents used to first study over here. Now they're coming back over here, they say, sir, we know teachers are strict over here. They are very strict for some rules and regulations. So, our vision is clear, our child should pass. But we are flexible about the methods we adopt. Why? Reason is simple, beta. End of the day, imagine if I am very lenient, then how can I impose that kind of discipline on you that you clear with good marks? So product differentiation. Differentiation works to reinforce entry barriers because the cost of creating genuine product differences will be too high for new entrants. Joy Aluka jeweler, what kind of designs he gave? Another jeweler may not be able to do that. One particular restaurant, Maleshwaram, I think I used to go, and they used to serve that idli, tatta idli, very tasty. And every day I would go. And one day I realized they would increase the price. With that, they used to give filter coffee. That is also very tasty. So, bacha, why we go? Why so many people would go? Because of what? The quality, product differentiation. Hey, beta, understanding? Urvashi, समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? Switching cost पे attention. See, किधर गया ये? हाँ. Suppose one person had a Vodafone, other person had an Airtel, other person had a telephone with Arcom, some person had an Idea, some person had a Tata. I mean, you know, all the students, they were giving what? Come on, tell me. They were giving 2G services. Hey, beta, huh? Vodafone Airtel was giving 2G services. The calls that they used to, calls which were there, they used to charge for that. Calls were charged, and charges were very high. Okay. Then what happened? Come on, tell me. Then, bacha, chalo, tell me. Geo came in the market. When Geo came in the market, Geo said what? We'll give you 4G. Geo said what? Calls will be, come on, free. Now, so beta, that, sorry. Imagine Geo said 4G free calls. So, bacha, what I started thinking, call free. I have a Vodafone, 2G. 2G services were horrible. Right now, I remember Surat, my telephone, which was 2G, even a telephone was, I used to go to different corners of my house on the ground so that I can hear, I can say something that the other party hear. 4G services are good. So one day I decided I'll go from Vodafone. I want to port my number. Suppose I have to go to Geo. And then, bacha, Vodafone says if you port from Vodafone to Geo, there is a standard operating procedure you have to follow. Plus, you have to pay 10,000 rupees. Bola, I will remain with Vodafone. But Geo was very intelligent. Narendra Modi is a friend. So what happened, bacha? Geo said, if any person want to port from Tata to Geo, from Idea to Geo, porting charges will be free. Tell me what happened. Chalo bolo Prakriti, what happened, beta? If switching costs were free, then beta, for me to go from one service provider to other becomes more feasible. More feasible. Cut that, and many people, students, switch from. When they will switch, when the switching costs are less, maybe free. If there is a huge cost involved, students, then, so beta, I am in this business, new entrant will come, and if the switching costs are nil, there is always a fear that customers will not be, come on, tell me, loyal to me. If customers are not loyal, bacha, Ram Naam Satya hai ho jayega. Agreed? See, to succeed in any industry, new entrants must be able to persuade existing customer of other companies to switch to its products. How Jio was able to tell people, 4G, calls free. Beta, ho gaya na? Need they say more? Now what? Airtel, Vodafone are struggling for 4G. Reliance is coming with 5G. In fact, this Airtel is also applying for 5G. That is, they also getting. So, beta, if you want to remain in the business, I said, you're supposed to have core competence and then make a value chain of it. To make a switch, buyers need to test the new firm's product, negotiate new purchase contracts, and trade personally. Buyers incur substantial financial and psychological costs in switching between firms. When such switching costs are high, buyers are often reluctant to change. The switching costs are high, buyers don't want to change. Switching costs are less, chal bindas. Then beta, brand identity. Brand identity, I was explaining up also. Your dad wants to buy a TV, he says, I'll buy a Sony. Why? In the past, he bought a Sony. It was a good television. So this time I'll buy a Sony. Bangalore, I remember I used to go in the past first. My friends used to have beer, they used to say Kingfisher beer. So that's the brand identity. A person wants to buy a car, middle class person. He says, I'll buy a Maruti car. Right. Why Maruti? So, Maruti car you buy You have good service stations. It gives good fuel efficiency. Spare parts are available everywhere. And the best part is this, Shwet, you have a good resale value. Khatak. So many a times you tend to buy the product just because of what the brand. Tata's Titan wristwatch, trust. JK Shah classes, I was told students, in the morning someone said, Yasha, some classes there, huh? Yashas. So if that particular class is there, and still we have maximum student JK Shah classes because of the brand identity. So see, brand identity is particularly important for infrequently purchased product. What do you mean by that? You know, your mom buys vegetables. She looks at brand over there. She wants to buy onion, potatoes, tomatoes. There's no brand. She'll see which tomato is red in color. She'll buy. But television you don't buy every day. Cars you don't buy every day, right? No? So when you buy such kind of products, then you look at the brand. So it's particularly infrequently purchased product that carry a high unit cost to the buyer. New entrants often encounter significant difficulties in building up the brand. So for a new company to become as big brand as Sony, it will take time. For a new coaching class in Bangalore to start to become as big as JK Shah will take time, right? So that's what it says here. Because they to do so, they must commit substantial resource over a long period. See, two more points, student, access to distribution channels. क्या लिखता है बेटा? The quality of goods is became the brand, but brand will not become the quality of goods. Precisely. But yes, no, you have to make a good product. But beta, in some time I'll say this sentence. Till now I've not said. It follows in some chapters. If you are doing business, you be more concerned with value creation rather than having competitive advantage. Once you do value creation, automatically get competitive. So brand and all that stuff comes afterwards. First, make a good product. See, 2 points, Bacha. That's all for the day. We'll complete it. One last point is what? Possibility of aggressive retaliation. This point is important. And second last one. What do you mean by this? Aggressive retaliation, possibility of aggressive retaliation. Listen, it goes something like this. Okay. Beta, Jio entered the market. That time we had a very big company by the name Vodafone. Sorry. We had a company by the name Airtel. Arcom, Tata Docomo, and all these companies were there. If Jio entered the market and Jio had a fear, if I get inside now, they all will come together and will compete with me. Previously, what was the case? Vodafone, Airtel, Arcom, they used to all fight with each other, compete with each other. That is why Jio found it beneficial to enter and create a niche for itself, create a space for itself. But if these people come together and they retaliate, then this particular company's position becomes weak. And if you know, they used to first fight with each other. When Jio came, what Bacha Vodafone Airtel did, they all reduced their price. And when they reduced the price, students, it was a kind of a retaliation. So the progress with which Jio was getting clients, that progress got reduced. Aditya would have said, "Sir, my Vodafone is good. Chalega, I don't want to go with Jio." So such kind of thoughts come, then Jio's position becomes. And last is student access to distribution channels. See, this basically means what? In this case, Hindustan Unilever makes Lifebuoy, makes Lux, so many things. Soaps. They give it to the distributors. Distributors give to the wholesalers. Wholesalers give to the retailers. So the goods are produced in the factory. Within 1 month, they come at the shelves, and in that 1 month, the retailer sells to the customer. So nice, sir. You make the product, you're not storing it, you're selling it, customers are buying it. But for me, it's a win-win proposition. Whatever I make, I give it to the trader. Customer gets it, he pays, I get the money. All are happy. Tomorrow, if a particular company, let us say Bharat Union Limited, comes in the market and makes some particular soap, it manufactures a particular very good quality of soap. Okay, now what? It makes a very good quality of soap. Now what is the case? It wants to sell now, but it does not have a good distribution channel. So what happens? The soap remains in the factory only. You are not able to sell. If you are not able to sell, bacha, gone na, dhanda kharab ho gaya. So I feel if I'm entering, I have to face Hindustan Unilever. They have good distribution channel. I don't have that. Hindustan Unilever makes for 90 crore people. I'll be making 1 crore. So it makes no sense. Rather, I should go in a business where I will be a sole dominant player. Okay. See, this is the last 2 points. Access. The unavailability of distribution channels for new entrants pose another significant entry barrier. So, new entrants don't have. Often, existing forms of significant influence over distribution channels and can retard, that is, restrict or impede, obstruct the use by new firms. So, new firms don't have this advantage. And last is possibility of aggressive retaliation, fight back. Sometimes the mere threat of aggressive retaliation by incumbents, occupants. In my example, student Vodafone Airtel can deter, that is, discourage entry by other firms into an existing industry. For example, all other telecoms of India slash their data charges is the best example. So Jio came with a lesser price, the remaining companies also reduced the price. First point I finished, student. Second, third, we'll do it tomorrow. Okay, understanding? Any doubts, students? I'll come into 2-3 minutes. Yes, please. Anyone having some doubts, please can raise their doubts. Raise your hands and tell me the doubts what you have. Morning batches at par, yeah. Aditya, you've been attending lectures regularly? Okay. Understanding everything now? Any doubts beta you have? Please unmute yourself. नियति बेटा बोलो बोलो अनम्यूट करो कर सकेगी क्या?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
So basically, this retaliation is a kind of reactive strategy only, right?
Yes, retaliation मतलब क्या? Imagine previously a person, Gandhiji used to say, na, someone slaps on the right side, you ask him, tell him to slap on the left side. So we never used to retaliate. Today, if a person slaps, so we'll kick him, na? So that is retaliation.
Yes, correct, sir.
What is better, what Gandhiji said or what today's attitude?
Today's attitude.
अरे नियति तू दिखती नहीं है वैसे बेटा. Okay, चलो. Hey, बोलो. Anyone else? Aditya, you have a doubt? Raise your hand. Unmute yourself. Or write the question in the chat box. If you cannot unmute, write the question in the chat box. Stability strategy is not opposite of expansion. Stability strategy, beta, how it will be opposite? Retrenchment is opposite of expansion. Aditya, understood? Stability, beta, you are just keeping quiet. Expansion and retrenchment are opposite of each other. Dixit, come on, tell me fast. Unmute yourself.
Sir, I am audible?
Yeah. RTP, but understood, na, Aditya? बोलो. Dixit.
Sir, during the class time, I mentioned in the chat box of some in the brand identify.
Sorry.
I mentioned something in the chat box during the class time. The quality of the goods became the brand.
Yeah, right. Now, perfect.
Nowadays,
quality of the product is good. You need to identify that product. How will you identify? So, it's better to give a brand name, na? Getting a point?
Yes, point.
He is a good boy. I should say he's a boy. I'll address you with a name, na? That is why brands are created and brand identity becomes important.
Sir, is there any name of the product in that the word name of the product? Is there any another word as there in the business scheme?
Yeah, I didn't follow your question.
Is there any another word as there in the brand name of the word brand? Is there any another name?
Patanjali uses its own name only. Right? For Patanjali, what is a brand? The soap Lux, Lifebuoy, they don't have products like that. Now they sell under the name Patanjali. Because
Yes.
Patanjali is a brand worth 30,000 crore rupees today. How much? How much, Dixit? 30,000 crore. Imagine so much money India has. Now they is not started making organic jeans. Tomorrow if he starts, imagine you also buy, I will also buy. Okay, so good night.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good
Bye.
night. Bye.